Welcome back to the Money Counsel in our second segment, where we are continuing our episode on understanding what the concept of financial planning is all about and the relationship that we have with money as well, and developing a financial plan that speaks to your values, your priorities, your goals as an individual, family, etc. And in the studio we have Mohammed Jaffer from Mojaf Financial Services. And just before the break, Mohammed, we looked at the concept of budgeting and practically being able to implement that in your daily life and keeping track of that, because as you mentioned, it's the flashlight in the dark room that allows you to move around in the darkness.
Yeah, Adnan, as I said, without a budget, it's going to be very, very difficult to balance your finances. In fact, just think of it: a successful company. If you've got a successful company operating, doing fantastically well, imagine that company running their affairs without a financial plan, without a budget.
Yes.
It's impossible actually to do that. So too, each household is a microcosm of that big picture.
Of course.
So you need to make sure that you're running your micro business, your household finances on the same principle, with a properly constructed budget.
Yes.
Because it's as you said earlier on, it's what are you going to spend on those when we're going to go, the takeouts? What are we going to spend when we go shop?
Yes.
Are we going to go just use the credit card and spend and just take what we think we need? Or are we going to say we've got an X amount, we've got 2,000 and 5,000, whatever the amount is, that's what we've got to spend. Here's the list that we need to spend, and we then go through the list. Now, you will find that in many cases, that if there's a couple, and we see it so often, that when we sit down with a couple, you'll find that one of them is the disciplined one, and one of them is the one that is a spendthrift. And the important thing then is to get the disciplined one, to hold the purse.
The finance minister.
Exactly, the finance. If it's the husband or the wife,
yes,
that's the person that's then in charge of the purse.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
Each one has their strengths in terms of running their little small business.
As you said earlier on, it's teamwork. It's all about teamwork. And then to instill certain disciplines, what we need to do then is to get people to think in this, particularly if they're not used to this, as to get them to think, and as you would know, to change habits is not easy. Yes. It takes time, it takes practice to change habits, and this is where the coaching comes in. So what I then recommend is for people to allocate the expenses. If it comes to electricity, we know we're going to spend an X amount. If it comes to the water rates, it's going to be, or the rent for that matter, those are fixed amounts. But when it comes to the monthly budget for food, meat, groceries, vegetables, yes, those type of things, eat out, entertainment, yes, put those things in, for argument's sake, into an envelope. I call it the envelope system. And then you break it down per week. And you then say, okay, this is what we've got to spend for this week. Because now you're adjusting the brain to know that, listen, we've only got an X amount to spend this week. And it changes your spending habits by doing that. Or if you want to do it on a spreadsheet and say, okay, this is what we've got, this is what we've spent for the week. We've now got so much left. And in that way, you're now changing your habits based on what you've got left.
And I mean, in today's time with technology, there are so many apps and software on your devices, your cell phone, your iPad, that you can actually easily track. Even with your banking apps, you're able to, what they say, track your wallet.
Absolutely.
So you can allocate line items exactly as you say, groceries, entertainment, fuel, etc., of what you're spending.
Absolutely. In fact, I've seen some amazing apps, as you call it, track your wallet.
Yes.
There's some apps that you know, as you allocate it to different, and when you spend money against that, it actually tells you, okay, you've spent so much, you've got so much left. So there are fantastic apps today for the youngsters that likes to, you know.
You can create your own digital envelope.
Exactly. It's the same principle, it's just in a different form.
Mohammed, you earlier touched on a very important aspect, which I think does also play a role in crafting this financial plan and successfully improving your lifestyle, is working together as husband and wife, partners, running a household together. Because in today's time you find the wife possibly earning more than the husband, because both of them are professionals and working through their finances together.
And this again, where it comes in financial planning today, is not about just rands and cents or sitting and crunching numbers. It's about understanding your clients. It's about understanding the relationship between husband and wife, if they are both your clients, and what's important to them as a couple and what's important to them as individuals. And as an advisor, you need to now coach them through this process of achieving their goals as a unit.
Yes.
And it can be very tricky at times, because what's important to the one is maybe not important to the other one. So we need to then strike a balance between the two and say, okay, this is important to you as a family, but it might not be important to you. The child's education today, the first thing that once a couple has got a child, the first thing that they want to come and do is to see, okay, I need to do, yes, this is important, we need to do that. But what about the child, the child's education? And today you'll find that school fees are far more than what university fees
and
is.
tertiary fees, yes.
Exactly. So, you know, these are all things that needs to be taken into consideration. Now, if we're going to spend that extra 500 or 1,000 rands a month on frivolous things, though that 1,000 rands, I've actually worked it out, 1,000 rands over a 20-25 year period, just 1,000 rands at a 8.5% return can give you about 2.3 million at the age of 60.
Sure.
Now, again, it's the power of compound growth over that period.
Yes.
So now, I'm going to step on the toes of the smokers. How much does a smoker burn up a month? 500 rand, 1,000, 800 rand. Work that out from the age of 20 to the age of 60 or 65. I guarantee you will fall on your back. And it's easy, you're gonna come to about 3 million, if not more.
Yeah.
And that is basically just burnt up over that period.
And it's simple spending habits, buying regular cups of coffee, or anything for that matter.
Absolutely, and it's right at the beginning you were talking about keeping it simple. That one-page financial plan, basic things that can have huge impacts on our finances and our financial well-being down the line.
So just as we wrap up the episode, just in some simple sort of practical way, where do you think is the starting block for someone that's now thinking about these concepts that we're discussing and reflecting on their personal life and now relating it to perhaps developing, somewhat of a financial plan?
I would strongly recommend that you sit, if it's an individual or if it's a couple, sit down and soberly look at your budget. Start there. Look at it and be realistic, because many a times we want to make things work.
Yes.
Even though we know we're overspending by eating out or by cigarettes or holidays that we take. Look at it and we then try and undercut and reduce those figures so that we can make the budget balance.
Yes.
Be realistic and be honest and put realistic numbers against your budget so that you can have a realistic and a true reflection of where you are.
Yes.
And from there, try and identify a good financial planner or coach to take you through this process. Because financial planning or financial coaching is not just a once-off interaction, but it's a life journey.
Ongoing. Thank you for that, Mohammed. We hope that the viewers enjoyed this episode discussing financial planning. Do catch us again on the Money Council. Thank you for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.